Good afternoon to all the members and participants. Thank you for joining this two-day webcast. And just as we possibly are planning to reopen the lockdown and to get back to normalcy, so to say. But we all know that this new normal would be very different from what we have seen in the pre-corona days. And we all know accounts and taxation professionals. You see, I see from the list of the participants, I still many are would be joining, I suppose, because we had a list of almost 200, and many of the participants we had to get them onto Facebook Live because we did not have more than 200 participants placed over here. So, friends, yesterday only I was delivering a lecture in a webcast in CII with the Principal Chief Commissioner of Income Tax. And the commissioner said that he was pleasantly surprised to see how many people from industry, even during these times, are wanting to learn taxation. So, and according to him, the changes in income tax are quite minor. But when I started deliberating, then it took me almost 2 hours only to present on the recent changes, the what has come in Finance Act 2020 and post that. And let me tell you, in GST also, the changes or the issues are so much. I have just concluded a 3-day, 2-hour workshop with one of the pan-India operators and with all industries, and even 3 days of 2 hours each were less given the kind of issues. But whatever I have tried to discuss in 2 days over the today and tomorrow with you. So the what we will do is the first 1 hour or so I would be delivering on the few critical issues which you see you have got in your memo also, which we circulated. And I would try to raise certain issues before you which might come in GST, and thereafter last 15 minutes, 20 minutes, we can take up the questions. During the webcast also, if you have something in mind, do feel free to write it in the chat box. And Shweta, my colleague, is there in this webcast, and after the webcast is over, she would read out and I would try to answer as many as possible given half an hour for question answers. So friends, as you would have seen in the memo which we circulated, I have listed down 6 or 7 issues. And now there are issues, we are all aware. And so you see, Mr. Thomas is saying voice is breaking. But Mr. Thomas, I am on broadband, high-speed broadband, and I think kindly check the connection at your end. Possibly if you have just logged in, just wait for 2-3 minutes or 5 minutes, and the speed will become okay, and you would be able to hear the voice properly. So, friends, since a lot of practicing professionals, company secretaries, chartered accountants, cost accountants, advocates are here today, a lot of members from industry are also here today. So I would be discussing on certain issues which we have circulated in our memo, and one part of it is how to litigate when we get such issues, or when we face such issues, either if we are in industry for our own companies, or if we are in practice, then for the client, or how do we handle the issues for the client. The other part of this, especially in taxation and indirect tax for particular, you see, I have practiced now indirect tax in industry as well as in consulting for the last 15 years. And I can tell you, in indirect tax specifically, and even in income tax, if you can foresee the issues and you can prepare the right documents, the contracts, your documents are correct and they speak the right language, you see, you can go through any litigation. Very recently, I argued a case in the tribunal in the matter of service tax. And you see, the member was only interested in the agreement between the two private parties. The moment we disclosed the agreement, we showed them and we got the order. So this is how a simple agreement or simple documents, if you prepare at this point of time, it will help you to not to get into litigation only. Even during assessment stage, you can free yourself from litigation, or even if you get into litigation, then it would certainly hold good in court of laws. So in this backdrop, we will start our discussion, and we will discuss the issue, the defenses in case of litigation, and the safeguards which you should take or for your clients. So friends, as we circulated, the first major issue which we foresee, and you see, just before this lockdown, in the first week of February, I took a class for almost 250 GST audit wing officers, all in the range of joint commissioner to superintendents. Just before they were all to start the GST audit across the country. And we have deliberated issue in detail. I myself deliberated before the officers, senior people in the organization, in the department, and we all agreed that yes, this particular point needs to be taken care of by all assessees. So that is why I raised before you this point. In GST, if there would be a dispute in two documents, in GST, there are 8 to 9 documents in GST, like invoices, bill of supply, delivery challan, credit note, debit note, refund voucher, payment voucher, etc. Two documents would invite the most ire of the officers, or the most close, you see, the scrutiny of the officers. One is delivery challan and the other is credit note. Now, this credit note is regulated by section 34 of the CGST Act. Now, as per section 34 of the CGST Act, the credit note can be only these circumstances. First, where there is a return of goods. Second, if the goods or services are deficient in quality or quantity. And third, if the taxable value or taxable supply is found to exceed the taxable value or tax which should have been charged. So the first two is very clear. In case the goods are returned, credit note. If the goods or services are found to be deficient, then the supplier issues a credit note with GST. And the third point, is which is used most rampantly. We just issue the credit note under the shelter of the third point under 34. That is, the taxable value or tax which is charged is more than what should have been charged. Now, friends, first point over here, which was the same in service tax, those who have dealt with service tax in the pre-GST era, they would know that even under service tax, same under GST, there cannot be any credit note under GST for bad debts. It has been issued out for bad debt write-off or provision for bad debt that would not be allowed under. You are issuing a credit note. Sometimes is that if you are issuing a credit note for a discount, then the discount should be a pre-sale discount, not post-sale discount, right? Next, link to the original invoices. The third point is the cost for consumption. Issuing a GST credit note to your customer, it has to be ensured that the corresponding ITC charged on the note by customer or client. I would repeat, in case you as a supplier have issued a credit note GST to customer, it has to ensure that the corresponding ITC against the credit note, against the GST charge in the credit note, has to be reversed by the client or the customer, right? So now this is a mandatory clause. Now the next question which automatically comes to mind is, that the voice is breaking a little. So what I would do in the interim, while my broadband speed seems to be okay, Shweta, any problem with the voice?
No, sir. No problem.
No. So I also feel the broadband, my broadband speed I am seeing, it is fine. So kindly participants, Mr. Thomas, Mr. Alok, and all, kindly check speed at your end or wait for 5 minutes. Possibly thing would even out, because others are. So what I would do is that I would switch off my video for some time. Let's see if the quality improves. Mr. Kumar is saying, can we get the PPT? Of course, Mr. Kumar, you would get the PPT. But it is important you understand the PPT just shows the section. You can get the section from the CGST Act also. So now the main point, issuing a GST credit, it has to be ensured that the corresponding ITC has been reversed by the customer. The question now which immediately comes to mind is, who reverses this ITC? Or it is, whose responsibility is it to ensure that the corresponding ITC is reversed? That is not specified under section 34. However, it has been specified. And you see, we have done lots and lots of show cause replies successfully. If you see, generally while during our practice of GST, we do not look at 42 and 43. But I can tell you, please look at 42 and 43. By and large, all your queries on mismatches would be resolved in the section 42. So section 43, it says that in case ITC is not reversed or reversed is less than the output tax reversed by the supplier, then the ITC reversed will be the output tax reversed. These two have to be matched. And finally, it has to be accepted and communicated. Right? So section 34 read with section 43, it says that if a supplier is issuing a GST credit note to a customer, then it has to be ensured that the corresponding ITC is also reversed, and finally they have to be accepted and communicated. If you read section 43 point by point, you see, please read from clause number, say, subsection 1 to the final subsection. You will see how detailed it is discussed. So now the question is, and again, rule 73 and 74, they reinstate the same thing. However, in rule 74, corresponding to section 43, it is, the procedure is stated that in case there is a mismatch, then the obligation is on the revenue to provide form GST MIS 1 and intimate both the recipient as well as the supplier, and then the recipient and the supplier would match and finally communicate the matching. However, till date, if you see the GST law, this form MIS 1 has not been notified. I am not saying on the portal. The MIS 1 form has not been notified itself in the law. So MIS 1 would be seeing the light of the day in future. For that, GSTR 2 and GSTR 3, which would have ensured that this matching happens automatically, that has never seen the light of day, right? And I think it would die an unborn death once the new return comes. So while, see, this is the biggest issue in the GST law, which comes that in the law itself does not notify a form, while the portal to aap chhode dijiye, portal will still keep on having glitches, but still the law, to the extent favoring the revenue, is enforced. Now the question is, how does the department come to know? The department cannot come to you directly that, you see, please prove that the ITC has been reversed by the customer, right? So how does the department get to know? You see, we are already dealing with various show cause notices across the country, especially in Uttar Pradesh, in Karnataka, in Chennai, Maharashtra, etc. How does the department know? Or how does the department verify that the customer has reversed the ITC? There is a form. Sorry. So this form 3B, which you file every month, there is a row in form 3B. This row 4B2. Table number 4 in form 3B is for ITC. Table 4B2 is for reversal of other ITC other than 42, 43. So you see, the right way of disclosure by a customer of reversal of corresponding ITC would be to disclose this 4B2. ITC reversed. However, if your customer shows 0 over here, then it would automatically, it may trigger a show cause notice on you as a supplier and who is raising the credit note with GST. So friends, this is something which we should all safeguard against immediately. But the question now remains that how would one safeguard against this? We have had various discussions, you see, across the country with various commissioners. We have had discussions, and I always raise the point. I said, how do you ensure that the corresponding party has reversed the proportionate ITC? We can do only one. We take ही बोलते हैं कि वो 3 भी ले लो आप उनका कस्टमर का, देखो उसमें रिवर्स किया कि नहीं. I say, sir, even if we take 3B of the customer, your GSTR 3B today does not have detailed guidelines like the new forms ANX 1, 2 and RET. In 3B, even today it is disputed whether 3B is a return or not a return, but assuming we will not go into that apropos the Gujarat High Court decisions, but still, 3B does not have detailed guidelines as to what comes in which row. So there are various ways. Maybe the customer has reversed ITC, he has netted it off against the ITC availed in table number 3. So how do you ensure that? वो कहते हैं यार आप 3B ले लो, उसमें देख लो सब. I said, sir, even if it is 3B, and even if you see maybe the customer has put in some figures in 4B too, is it conclusive evidence that relating to my credit note the customer has reversed the ITC? There can be many other reversals. So working ले लो. I said, sir, customer कभी working नहीं देगा. Why should the customer, who is an independent assessee, give his workings to his supplier as to what are his workings for the GSTR 3B? So friends, now the question is, how does one safeguard? As I said in the very beginning, we would not only discuss in this webcast as to what are the issues or what are the defenses if we get such a litigation, but the question is, sitting on today, how can I safeguard myself from this future litigation so that there is no case at all? First of all, let me tell you, there is no conclusive safeguard. You see, many respected advocates have joined. They would all agree that in legal parlance, there are two kinds of evidences. Many kinds, but mainly two to say. One is conclusive evidence, right? You can conclude that yes, by this evidence, you can be sure that the allegation is completely to be quashed. So one is conclusive, but one is persuasive evidence, right? So as of now, I can tell you, no matter what, there is no conclusive evidence which you can take. So the best is to get a persuasive evidence to safeguard against litigation. The persuasive evidence would be that possibly even for 1718, mind that I am not only talking about 1920 from date. So even for 1718, where maybe you have gone through the GST audit also, maybe the auditor has not looked into all these facts, but even for 1718, when the department will come to you to do the audit or the assessment, they would certainly ask for some evidence. So what you can do as a safeguard is to issue a letter to your customers saying that, gentlemen, these are the credit notes which have been issued and whereby we have reversed the ITC, reversed the outward tax liability, and whether against these credit notes, have you reversed the corresponding ITC under section 34 read with section 35 and rule 73-74 of the CGST law in India. The moment you get a reply on this from your customers, it is better to keep it in your file and I can tell you this would act as a persuasive evidence. In the instance case, this is nowhere written in the law book. You see the law book, it is nowhere written, but you see from your experiences, from the way we have handled litigation in service tax, central excise in the last few years, from there I can tell you that in more, even if during assessment the department does give a adverse order, I can tell you in the tribunal stage this would have a great weight. So now the question is, so आपने अब safeguard तो कर लिया, अभी क्वेश्चन आएगा, आप कहोगे सर उसके बाद भी डिपार्टमेंट नहीं माना, if the department still prefers to give you a show cause, and you see from the experiences in service tax and central excise, you are all aware that your show cause reply, that is the piece of document which would go even till Supreme Court, especially the tribunal. You see, commissioner appeals, I will not say much because you have all seen in indirect taxes, a little contrary to income tax. आप लोग जो इनकम टैक्स प्रैक्टिस कर रहे हैं, आप के सीआईटी अपील्स जो हैं, सीआईटी अपील्स में हमने देखा है, मैंने खुद काफी अच्छे ऑर्डर्स लिए हैं फ्रॉम जुडिशियस कमिश्नर्स, बट इन इनडायरेक्ट टैक्सेस फ्रेंड्स आई कैन टेल यू कमिश्नर अपील्स तो आप, that is just one step which you can always think you will get an adverse order, but tribunal mein this show cause reply which you give, that would be the main document which the tribunal will rely on. So आपने अपने show cause reply में सारे grounds ले लेने हैं, तो वो grounds क्या क्या होंगे? First, when you are issuing a GST credit note, and when there is an automatic, you see, reflection in the GSTR 2A. So first of all, the defense is that there is no reason to believe that this function has not worked, and hence this, the instant allegation is without any basis. Next is that in GSTR 2 and 3, which have never seen light of day, there was an automatic process whereby you issue a credit note, the customer accepts it, and you know that yes, the customer has accepted this, and that would act as a piece of conclusive evidence. But because the revenue was not able to, you see, bring into effect that GSTR 2 and 3, suitable machinery provisions are not available to the SSE, and hence the allegation is without basis. The third defense is that in GSTR 3B, there are no detailed instructions as of now also as to how to disclose this reversal, and the SSE is under no obligation to show it under 4B2 if the department so alleges. And the last defense, if you get such a show cause, is that the acceptance or final communication as envisaged under section 43 would be through a GST MIS1 form, and this GST MIS1 form has not been notified by the government at least till date. So friends, there is no GSTR 2, there is no GSTR 3, there is no MIS1 form. Okay, so it can always be argued in the court that there is no suitable machinery provision to ensure this fact, and the instant allegation is guarded by the doctrine of impossible performance. You see, this doctrine of impossible performance is a very, very strong doctrine, and you see in the next few minutes, I would discuss the Supreme Court decision in the case of Arise India Limited, where this doctrine of impossible performance have been invoked by the Honorable Apex Court. So, asking the supplier to ensure that ITC is reversed, the department is asking the supplier to do the impossible, right? So these are various defenses which you can take against such a litigation if it arises going forward. Now the next question is, or the next issue with credit note is, you see in my last slide, I have said in the last safeguard is issue commercial credit notes. With this also comes the next issue. First of all, is can commercial credit notes be issued left, right, and center? Answer is yes. What is a commercial credit note? The commercial credit note is a credit note without charging GST, right? So, is the department bothered about commercial credit note? Answer is no. Commercial or financial credit note, whatever you call it. Do we need to report commercial credit notes in the GSTR 3B? Answer is no, not required, because that is absolutely outside GST law, right? And mind that this is something which I am not saying. This is something which the department has accepted in the circular. However, various clients have asked me at various points of time from the very beginning that, sir, I purchase a material from my supplier. Now you take reverse case. Till now, you were the supplier. Now assume that you are the customer, right? So you have purchased, say, plus 18,000 GST. Now afterwards you decide with the, you bargain with the supplier कि साहब आपका तो मशीनरी में एक दो डिफेक्ट है, हमको उसको ठीक करवाना पड़ेगा, therefore you have to give me a discount of 10,000. The supplier accepts. He says, okay sir, I will give you a post sale discount of 10,000. So as I told you in the beginning, on post sale discount there is no GST credit note which can be issued. So he issues you a commercial credit note of 10,000 rupees. तो आप क्या कर रहे हो, आप उसकी अकाउंटिंग करते हो, कमर्शियल क्रेडिट नोट की अकाउंटिंग करते हो, एंड वो आपका जो सप्लायर है उसे आप 90,000 प्लस 18,000 पे कर देते हो, राइट, बाय अकाउंटिंग फॉर द 10,000 रुपीज पोस्ट सेल डिस्काउंट. Now there are two questions which have been asked by various clients at various points of time. First question, sir, हम अपने बुक्स में परचेज बुकिंग कर रहे हैं 90,000 का, बट आईटीसी बुकिंग कर रहे हैं 18,000 का. 90,000 के ऊपर 18,000 का जीएसटी क्रेडिट क्या हमें गवर्नमेंट आईटीसी लेने देगी? आंसर इज absolute yes. You see, the law says this again. I told you, you will get most of your answers in 42 and 43. So please read 42, 43, right? Please read line by line in detail, at least the section 42, 43, right? And do not go from 42.1 to 42.5 directly. अगर आप jump करेंगे तो आप लिटिगेट नहीं कर पाओगे, राइट? आप जंप मत करो, लाइन बाय लाइन पढ़ो, सब सेक्शन बाय सब सेक्शन. आपको अपने सारी क्वेश्चंस का आंसर मिल जाएगा as far as this matching is concerned. So the first answer is that as long as the supplier pays 18,000 GST to the government of India, right, the recipient can absolutely go ahead and take 18,000 rupees ITC. No problem, even though the taxable value has been reduced by 10,000. That is a valuation issue, not an ITC issue. next question, right? And you see, to answer this question, I would again reiterate section 16. So section 16(2), it tells you that there are only 4 conditions which determine whether you can take ITC or not. Let us understand these 4 conditions vis-a-vis our case. तो अगर वो आपको मशीनरी सप्लाई करता है 1 lakh plus 18 and he gives you a 10,000 commercial credit note, let us see section 16(2), all the 4 conditions are satisfied or not. Are you in possession of the tax invoice with 1 lakh plus 18,000 GST? Yes. Have you received the goods? Yes. Have you filed your return? Yes. And has the tax charged in respect of some supply? It is not tax charge with respect to taxable value. It is telling you with respect to such supply. Has it been paid to the government? Answer is yes, Your Honor. This 18,000 tax charged in the invoice has been paid to the government and there is no reversal by the supplier from this 18,000. So all the conditions under 16(2) are met and you can take the entire ITC. अभी next issue, काफी सारे clients पूछते हैं कि you see सेक्शन 16(2) सेकंड प्रोविजो में चले जाओ. 16(2) सेकंड प्रोविजो क्या कहता है कि इफ यू हैव नॉट पेड द टैक्सेबल वैल्यू एंड द टैक्स, माइंड दैट 16(2) does not talk about taxable value, but provision to section 16(2) second proviso, it talks about taxable value also. So if the taxable value or tax charged is not paid to the supplier within 180 days, then the corresponding ITC needs to be reversed. तो अब आप काफी सारे क्लाइंट कहते हैं साहब इसका क्या करें हम? तो टैक्सेबल वैल्यू एंड टैक्स, टैक्सेबल वैल्यू तो कम हुआ है, हमने तो पे नहीं किया है, तो आप चले जाओ जी रूल 37. You see, if you read rule 37, it is very clear that as long as there is no failure of payment होना है साहब, right? Even if there is no taxable value, अगर आप 0 taxable value खाली GST भी पे करते हो, आपका क्वेश्चन है, I know you must be thinking ऐसा क्या हो सकता है? Answer is yes, हो सकता है. When you are supplying goods free of cost, right, as a warranty, तो आप क्या करते हो? assessable value के ऊपर टैक्स चार्ज करते हो, GST कलेक्ट करते हो कस्टमर से. क्वेश्चन इज आप उसका ITC ले पाते हो कि नहीं, कस्टमर ले पाएगा कि नहीं? आंसर इज एब्सोल्युटली. रूल 37 आप देखो. So similarly, even if value is reduced under second proviso to 16(2) read with rule 37, there is no problem. The ITC can be availed fully to the extent of the GST in the invoice, right? Also, this circular 105, this has been withdrawn due to certain other reasons. But if you see over here, this 0.5 in circular 105, the department is very clear, no ITC requires to be reversed. Although this circular has been withdrawn, but still the logic envisaged in this circular can absolutely be used. But I would say there is no requirement of using any logic, no problem. You just read rule 37 and second proviso to 16(2). No logic, no circular would be required at all. So this is a very simple case, no problem in this. Friends, next issue which we face regularly is, you see, with way bills. And this is not a new thing. You see, I was practicing VAT also in the erstwhile regime along with central excise and service tax. तो VAT में तो जितनी प्रॉब्लम्स थी वे बिल में, आई थिंक GST में उससे बहुत कम है. आप में से जो VAT practice करते थे, well aware of these waybill issues, and you are well aware how to take care of these issues in the assessments. GST poses few extra challenges. एक चैलेंज है, पैट में भी था, इससे ज्यादा था, जो जीएसटी में भी है, is all these way bills, there is an expiry for these way bills under GST. तो एक्सपायरी टाइम है, लेकिन उसको आप एक्सटेंड भी कर सकते हो. You can extend it to, and you can take a approval for extension, but the time limit for seeking an approval for extension is only 8 hours, 4 hours before the expiry time and 4 hours after. So say for 4 o'clock at night, then you have to extend it 4 office hours. That is, many a times the logistics department in the industries, they, you see, forget to extend, and the way bill expires. And in this lockdown, this is a very, very critical issue, because all the vehicles were stranded on 20th of March. Wherever they were stranded and they could not move. The government and the states have got out notification that all way bills expire which were made before 24th March but expired before 15th of April, they would be to be extended till 31st of May. Right? So any way bill which was made before 24th of March, no problem, you still have 2-3 days. I think most of us would have taken the benefit of the circular, this notification. The bigger problem is, sir, what happens if, and especially for transportation companies, you see very large logistics companies we are advising, so they had major problems because उनका तो business चल ही रहा था 24 मार्च से 15 अप्रैल, और उस समय काफी लोग भी कम थे. Huge panic was there. So they said, sir, what if I made the way bill between 24th March and 15th April and it expired afterwards while the vehicle was still in transit? Because you see, the vehicles also, the movement was very, very, very difficult. So uske liye we had represented to the Ministry of Finance, right, the central government, and even after big representations, they were of the opinion, नहीं सर, 24 मार्च से 15 अप्रैल तक तो सब ठीक था, आपने वे बिल अगर जनरेट किया और एक्सटेंड करना भूल गए, then you have done a crime. So the question is, sir, there is a problem now, what to do if the vehicle is stranded in between, right? If the vehicle is stranded, you see, in on the way, and the truck has to go to its destination. So what is the next best solution? So what we have advised, you see, again, this is not written in the law book, but as I said, that there have to be safeguards, and the portal does not allow you to generate a new way bill on the same invoice. So what we advise is that what you can do, you can generate a new way bill with a prefix or a suffix to the invoice number, inform both the consignor as the consignees, and give the vehicle owner these way bills and the note on file along with the letters posted to the jurisdictional officers, right? And in case of interception, the vehicle owner can show these you see these communications, and we understand that at least during these times, the department would take a very judicious stand. And even pre-corona, there have been precedents where the cases were even more complicated than this. You see, in this instant case, in your screen, in the case of Ram Harihar, Ramcharitra Ram Harihar Prasad, Honorable High Court at Patna, they had held that in this instant case, where a waybill was generated post interception. So इसमें क्या हुआ? The vehicle owner, he was at the factory gate, and the waybill expired. He was not allowed to enter the factory gate for some time. He went to have tea along with his vehicle, and he was intercepted at that point. So the Patna High Court said that there is no difference in the taxable value of the goods, the GST charge, no difference in the invoice, no difference in the goods themselves. Just because of a procedural error, there cannot be a hardship and there can be no penalty which can be imposed in the instant case, right? So even in case the department chooses to litigate in these cases where there are procedural hardship, such precedents in the case of Ramcharitra Ram Harihar Prasad would certainly come to the rescue. Now, friends, this a lot. You see, there has been wide deliberations on this subject, whether GST in the reverse charge needs to be paid on directors' remuneration. And all of confusion across the country during this lockdown happened, you see, because of an advance ruling in the case of Claycraft India Private Limited. So friends, generally, I do not discuss advance rulings because I firmly believe that these are just opinions of the department, right? Even the advance ruling authority, the constitution of this authority shall be challenged across the courts in the country, because you see, finally an advance ruling authority is a court, and having two technical members on the bench who are officers of the department, you see, we all understand how much justice can be expected. So again, that is a separate matter, but because there is widespread confusion after this judgment, although there has been a favorable judgment by the Karnataka Advance Ruling Authority in this matter, but the problem is the advance ruling is applicable only to the specific asset. So the doubt always remains that what would happen in the case of assessments. So you see, I have jotted down the paras, the instant advance ruling in the case of Claycraft India Private Limited. On your screen, you can see, and you can go through at your own pace. I would only refer to this para 5.8. Now this para 5.8 says that the directors Schedule 3, right? Does clause 3 to the CGST law say? It says that any service by an employee to an employer shall be outside GST. without giving any cognizance to arguments put forth by the appellant. In this case, the advance held without giving any speaking reasons for that it is a service. भाई इससे ये हम बोलेंगे ही नहीं कि ये सर्विस नहीं है, लेकिन साहब ये सर्विस ही नहीं है, because the relationship between a director, a whole-time director or executive director and a company is that of an employer and employee, because TDS is deducted under section 195, 192 of the Income Tax Act. The directors have a contract. You see, PF laws also support this. Various case laws have been provided by the SSE. If you go through this advanced ruling in the case of Claycraft, I can tell you any problem you have in this matter in future. You see, you can take the defenses which were put forward by the SSE. I can tell you it was one of the best defenses I have seen put forward by a appellant in an advanced ruling. They have given all the reasons, right? So you can take the defenses. Do not look at the order. With all due, I would say the department has erred with the ruling. Also, there are various court cases which would come to your rescue. Bench decision in case of allied service tax, honorable Supreme Court's decisions are there in few cases which envisage the fact that a whole-time director is a employee of an organization. Now, friends, the next issue which we have all faced, I'm sure, whether we are in industry or whether we are practicing, we have all faced notices mismatch between the supplier and the recipient, right? Now, हम अब क्या करते हैं इसमें? To safeguard ourselves, what we do? We match between our purchase register and our GSTR 2A available on the portal. So in one such instance, many such instances, I am just giving you one of the cases. The assessee in the instant case was an expert. So now he purchased scrap iron. He was a steel exporter. So he purchased scrap iron. Huge amount of scrap iron he purchased from a vendor. And उसने ये भी ensure किया कि GSTR 2A में reflect कर रहा है कि नहीं कर रहा है वो amount. He saw that the ITC was reflected in the GSTR 2A. Then he made the payment to the vendor, took the ITC, and उसके बाद उसने एक्सपोर्ट रिफंड भी क्लेम किया और उसे रिफंड भी मिला ITC का. Now, 8 o'clock at night, you see the officers of the intelligence wing, they land up at the premises. वो कहते हैं साहब ये जो आपका ITC आपने रिफंड लिया है, vendor is not traceable. तो कहते हैं साहब no, he has not paid the GST. So we said, sir, we have already matched it with the 2A. He said, नहीं आपका 2A में दिखा रहा है कि क्योंकि उसने GSTR 1 डाला है अपना, but he has not filed his GSTR 3B. So now the SSE became a little concerned. He saw that yes, while the vendor filed his GSTR 1, it matched with his GSTR 2A, but On further scrutiny, the GSTR 3B was not filed by the instant vendor. And he was asked to reverse the ITC. Again, I will come back to what I told you. The officer invoked 16(2)(c). He said that, see, you are under an obligation to ensure that the tax should be paid to the government. Because the vendor did not pay the tax to the government, now I will catch you. You please reverse the IT. You please pay the GST. So they called me. I said, sir, again, as I have told you, I said, sir, please go through 42(3). And again, friends, I am telling you, for any 42 and 43 will give you all your answers. So I said, sir, please go through 43. It says that ऐसे नहीं है कि कोई भी मिसमैच हुआ और वेंडर तो आप सब 42. Department has to go to the vendor as well as to the recipient. It has to give notices. It has to ensure that the vendor and the recipient, they do the corresponding matching, and then only it can ensure the compliance with 16(2)(c). I said, yes, sir. There is no ITC. So till date, not only how to litigate, but you see for industry, for who are doing not only litigation, but litigation. So now the question is, what is safeguard? The safeguard is that our matching process has to be robust. How to do that? You have to ensure that even your vendors file the GSTR 3B. There are various softwares right in the market, or even on the GST portal, you can see whether the corresponding counterpart has filed the GSTR 3B or not. Only after the ITC is available in your 2A, and when you ensure that he has filed his 3B. Question is, does the litigation rest over here? Answer is no. Even after doing this, there is no conclusive evidence. GSTR 3B ITC is just a figure. And I deliberated this various times with various commissioners, even in the GST council, people who are representing the states. I have spoken to various commissioners, and I say, sir, fine. I even see that my vendor has filed his 3B. Is it a conclusive evidence? वो कहते हैं नहीं विवेक जी, evidence तो नहीं है. क्यों नहीं है साहब? क्योंकि मान लो आपके वेंडर ने GSTR 3B फाइल किया, he has filed his GSTR 3B, but the GST liability he has paid it through ITC. और ITC तो साहब एक फिगर है GSTR 3B में. It can be 1 rupee, it can be 1 crore rupee. So in many cases, we have seen the vendor has filed his 3B. Entire payment of his GST liability through fake ITC, right? So उसको कैसे safeguard करें? Sir, there is no way to safeguard this until unless the new GST return comes in. And as far, at least in 2020-21, I do not see the new GST returns coming into picture because of the various hardships due to COVID. Friends, but we have to be very careful, because you see, yesterday only I was taking a session on income tax, and all people who are practicing income tax over here, they would be knowing corresponding section has been notified in the Income Tax Act, this section 270, to penalize to the the customer. So if it is in found that has defected or exists or there is any problem or there is any invoice for which no services or goods are received, then the GST credit is gone. Even the base amount of the invoice that would be charged as penalty under income tax 271 AAD. So one has to be careful of this irrespective of the safeguards. Whatever we have discussed, the same doctrines were laid down by the Apex Court in case of Arise India Limited and others. Various assessees, appellants who went to the Apex Court in the case of relating to Delhi VA. And this is famously called Arise India judgment. The case was that similar to what is happening in GST, the supplier did not pay his VAT to the government and the recipient was asked to reverse the input tax credit of VAT. So in the instant, the court has laid down various doctrines. So you see, the first doctrine was that, as we have discussed in GST also, to ask a purchaser to ensure that the vendor pays his tax to the government is, you see, guarded by the doctrine of impossible performance. It is asking the purchaser to do the impossible. The second is that the law has to differentiate between a guilty purchaser and an innocent purchaser. In case the law has to differentiate between a guilty purchaser and an innocent purchaser. If the law treats all the purchasers equivalent and every purchaser you ask to reverse the ITC, irrespective of mens rea, it is violative of Article 14 of the Constitution as well as Article 19(1)(g) of the Constitution of India. So this case, the judgment in the case of Arise India Limited and others by the Apex Court would certainly come to your rescue. A similar judgment was in the case of Gherulal Balchand and State of Haryana by the Punjab and Haryana High Court. You see, I have highlighted also what the court ruled. It said the purchaser cannot be held responsible or cannot be forced to go around from pillar to post to collect the material in order to get the rebate. In the instant case ITC. Right. So in case of mismatches, I have discussed, you see, the safeguards, how we should do the matching. Also, in case the matter does come up for litigation, even after adequate safeguards, then the instant judgments in the case of Arise India Limited, Gherulal Balchand State of Haryana, there are various other precedents in the erstwhile regimes which you can take benefit of. So friends, last issue of the day, although we have exceeded our time, I have exceeded my time by a little bit, but I would just complete this because you see, tomorrow we also have to discuss on a lot of things. Do not complete our syllabus as per our memo today, then maybe tomorrow it would need to be extended a lot more. I would just complete this final issue and thereafter I will take the questions If the participants have questions, I would ask them to please write it down in the chat box. Shweta is looking at the chat box, and after I end my deliberations, she would ask me, and I would reply to the queries as much as possible. So friends, now you would all be seeing question is, what preparations we take for arrangement of transitional also? I will just take you through provisions. So I'll not discuss over here the provisions of transitional credit or interest, but retrospective amendment. Made a mistake. Would win. जो zero बैठा दिया करोड़ रुपया तो me I have made a mistake. I said okay, revise. He said sir, now there is no option revising tran 1. I said no problem. So next is that we were very no that इस केस में तो हाई कोर्ट छोड़ के होगा नहीं. I said no problem. You cannot go to high court immediately. The thing is that you have to build a cause for action. In case you go directly to the high court will ask you, have you broken your head before your own? If you say no sir, I have gone directly to you, he would say and pray for justice. So demand justice is very important. So letters to the authorities that gentlemen, this has happened. Kindly allow us grant to take ITC. As usual, would respond to such a letter. So we did not get a letter, and that time a decision came and limited by the Honorable Bombay High Court that in these cases of you can take the ITC in your GA. So we went ahead and took, because this was a substantial claim. and you see that sold off also. But in many instances, this was not even done by the assessees. So then in one of the cases, in the case of Rishi Graphics, went to the High Court, right? And we wrote similar letters. The department did not revert to us. Then we went to the High Court, and you see the Calcutta High Court, after 1 year of deliberations, because 3 judges, you see, justices changed in the last 1 year in tax matters. So one justice was hearing the case, he was getting shifted. The other, so finally, Justice Saraf delivered a judgment apropos the Supreme Court judgment in the matter that ITC is a inherent is a property of the assessee under Article 300A of the Constitution of India and cannot be denied due to a machinery default, right? So the instant case is that, friends, there are many honorable advocates practicing in the high courts in this webcast also. They would agree counsel is as strong as the client only. The counsel can only a strong client. So the client has to, you see, aid the counsel with all the corroborative evidences. Most important is directly one cannot go to the High Court. It has to have demand justice. So you have to write letters to the department, try with the department. Thereafter, you have to go to the High Court. Another thing is that if you have to go to the High Court, do not delay. You see, in case you delay, the writ petition will be thrown if you are guilty of laches. There is a saying that the High Court or the vigilant and not the indolent. So in one of the cases, in case of interest under GST, we will discuss in detail tomorrow. You would all be aware of the widespread litigation on interest. So in the case of interest, one assessee waited for 1 year before going to High Court. So we said, sir, ye chalega nahi. So we then created a demand justice. We wrote a letter to the department, waited for the reply, and against that we went to the High Court. So if you have to go to the High Court, go instantly, right? In the transitional credit, friends, again, this retrospective amendment has come. Apropos the judgment by the High Court, we are time barring for the transitional cases. But in my view, this amendment may also be challenged in the days to come. You see, the Delhi High Court has already ruled that please do not talk about any limitations, etc. ITC is the property of the assessee under Article 300A. Even the Delhi High Court has directed the department to open up the transitional forms again so that the assessees can take the credit till 30. They missed due to transitional credit. So, you see, there are various defenses which we discussed. You can go through all this at your own pace. So with this, friends, I would give rest to my voice over here. I would rest my deliberations. I would now take certain questions which have been posted by the participants. Okay, so okay, I will only read it out, although, but I would only read it out. You see, Miss CACV Suryam, he has to say when section 34 does not speak about credit note or debit note in respect of discount given again post supply, then how can tax be reduced? Yes, Mr. Suryam, I have never said that credit note or debit note, credit note can be issued for post sale discount. I said the same thing, that for post sale discount, credit note under GST cannot be issued. But commercial credit note can be issued, right? You can always give a discount post sale, but you cannot reverse the ITC. But my point was that in case of pre-sale discount or any GST credit note, in case the supplier is reversing his ITC, this GST or outwards tax, then it has to be ensured that the corresponding ITC of the recipient is also reversed, right? Is today's session, Mr. Upen Shah is saying, is today's session on GST? What about tomorrow? Sir, we have already circulated a note on the topics to be discussed. Tomorrow we will discuss upon the various issues like interest and drawbacks, litigation under GST, and also the GST audit manual. Again, CA Suryam says, okay, it is the same question. Ankita Sisodia says there is a retrospective amendment in taking transitional credit. Okay, so this I have already discussed. Ms. Deshmukh is saying, sir, please elaborate the example of 90,000 regarding commercial credit note once again. Okay, so I will repeat this, Ms. Deshmukh. So say you are a supplier, or say you are a customer. Your supplier has issued you an invoice. You have purchased goods from him. He has issued you an invoice for 1 lakh plus 18,000 GST. Now, due to some reason, you ask him for a post-sale discount. He gives you a post-sale discount of 10,000 rupees by a commercial credit note. So now you pay to the supplier how much? 1 lakh minus 10,000, that is 90,000 base amount plus 18,000 GST. Now, many taxpayers, they have a query that this entire 18,000 GST credit can be taken or not. So my view, in the context of Rule 37 and Circular 105, although that circular has been withdrawn, but if you see 37, then it is very clear that entire 18,000 ITC can be taken. Can GST be charged or at 18% on supply of foods by supplier other than specified premises after introduction of notification 2019 CT rates? Food supplies, you see there has been a lot of rate changes. There are various options under which suppliers, if they take the option of 5%, then they charge 5%, or if they do not avail this option, then they charge whatever rate is applicable. So you have to go to the corresponding rate chart to see what is the GST applicable. Kuljit Singh Jhala, Mr. Kuljit Singh Jhala is saying, how can I adjust one ITC bill of FY 18-19 taken in October 19 as the due month for availing ITC was September 19. Okay. Further, there are few invoices only in 18-19 or till September 19, hence no other invoice can be replaced by it. So you see, for financial year 18-19, the due date for taking the ITC has not been extended. So if you have not taken the ITC till October 19, and if you choose to take the ITC now, then you see that has to be litigated by the department. That will be litigated by the department because there is no extension of such due date for taking ITC. Ms. Sisodia is again saying if the goods were exempted in the earlier regime and SENVAT was paid on the same. The same was not claimed in the earlier law. Now in the new regime, the same goods are taxable. We have all the bills for SENVAT, central excise paid. Can we still go through offline mode and claim the credit with all these bills? So, Ms. Sisodia, I think, see, the time limit is barred now to take. So, all these cases where the relief has been granted to by the High Court are those cases where there is a technical glitch or where there is a genuine reason why you have not taken the ITC under the transitional form or why you could not find the transitional form. In your case, I feel there is a miss, and you see, ignorance of law is not a valid ground. So in this case, in case you have any technical glitch or in case you have a ground whereby why you did not take the central excise credit in the GST, also you have to go through the High Court route, otherwise no. Okay, okay, Mr. Surya is again to say, when a registered contractor, say in Tamil Nadu, is awarded a contract for supply and installation of electrical item in a residential complex in Andhra Pradesh, is he required to take registration in Andhra Pradesh? So, Mr. Suryam, this we have deliberated hours after hours from 2016. You would be surprised when I said 2016. You see, my first book on GST came in June 2016 after the first model law came. And thereafter, with each model law, we have released our books and we have discussed, especially this registration issue, in detail with the commissioners. My humble submission in the instant case is there is no requirement of registration in Andhra Pradesh if you do not have a fixed establishment. However, practically we have discussed with the state commissioners. They have to say that, sir, how will we control if you do not take registration in my state? Because you see, you will charge IGST from Tamil Nadu in the instant case. Then they are saying that if you charge IGST from Tamil Nadu is not much bothered because it is not getting the money and you are not registered in my state. So who controls? Right? So this is their argument. But in my view, Section 22 of the CGST Act is very clear. In case you are supplying goods or services from a state, you have to take registration in that state. The word from, you please read that, it is the crux of the answer. If you have no fixed establishment in AP, although you are doing a works contract over there, then you are not supplying goods or services from AP. Okay, Kavik is saying since bills pertaining to 1819 is not received in current year, but after ledger RICO bill is pending, can it be taken? So, Mr. Kavik, I have already answered this question that the time barring period is not is over. So, of course, the department is bound by the CGST law. The courts are not bound. So, you have to if the amount is substantial. Because after all, ITC is a property of the assessee under Article 300A. Okay, okay, very informative session. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, friends. So thank you very much for joining. Tomorrow we will meet again at 11 a.m. Thank you very much.